Alright, so this is a video of my 2007 Jones Brothers Bateau that I picked up. I just wanted to go over everything I did to it, kind of to bring it back to life. I bought this from a gentleman down on the Chesapeake Bay who kept it in the water most of its life, and subsequently it picked up a ton of barnacle growth on the underside and just needed to be cleaned up. So as you can see here, it was right before I picked it up. They did scrape some of the barnacles off the sides of it, but they were just caked on there and left all these white calcium deposits after they were scraped off since they've been hardened on. Here's me getting the boat home for the first time and kind of just a walk around of the boat in the starting position. It had that captain's seat back there, which I didn't want. I wanted to move the bench back to where it was from the factory. But the first order of business was just getting underneath of it and scraping the rest of this barnacle growth off. As you can see, it is just layered on there, and I had to use like a 1-inch wide scraper on the entire undercarriage to get this off. Anything wider, you just couldn't eat through the barnacles. They were just so hardened and cemented on there. So I had to do this to the entire underside of the boat. Quite the fun process, quite the messy process. Just some videos showing how many barnacles truly were on the underside of this boat. Here's a nice picture of a lot of progress of getting the barnacles off, but still all those white spots, those calcium deposits just cemented on there. And I tried using this Mary Kate on and off gel, but this stuff does not work at all for the barnacles that are hardened on. Maybe it would if they were fresh. But what did work was this muriatic acid, and this is some nasty stuff. You can just get it for like $10 a gallon at Ace Hardware or some similar store. If you do use this, make sure you use a respirator rated for acid, because this will really mess up your lungs. But as you can see here, this was me testing it out, and it immediately starts eating away at these calcium buildups. Now, it does take a couple applications to get all of that white buildup away, but it does work. So my plan moving forward was this. There's a couple. Oh yeah, here's a after picture. All these black spots on here is actually the bottom paint of the boat that the barnacle actually protected. So that was kind of interesting. It was worn off everywhere except where the barnacles have protected it. After that, I just finished scraping off all the barnacles, and then a couple other small tasks that I wanted to do before taking the boat home to my parents' house. Replaced both wheels on the trailer since they were different sizes, and I just think the black wheels on there look better. I think eventually I'm going to get some black side steps for them as well. And then I wanted to move that bench seat in front of the console back to where it originally was, so I had to patch up the holes where the captain's chair was, and then patch up the holes where they moved the bench in front of the console and put the bench back in its original spot from the factory. And there it is, moved back. I'm going to get a new cushion for the seat too. I just got to figure out if I want to get something custom upholstered or try and find a replacement one like that. So after that, I headed down to my parents', and the plan was to get the boat off the trailer, because you do not want to get that muriatic acid on anything metal, especially your galvanized trailer. It will just eat through it. So lifting it up with the forks off the trailer, putting it on the 4x4s with some cinder blocks, and then same thing in the front, and then we were able to pull the trailer out. So here's the morning before I started, just kind of a before video of what I'm working with. So this was kind of the process, just spraying on the muriatic acid, letting it sit for 30 seconds to a minute, maybe a little longer, and then pressure washing it off again. I would spray one section, like one whole side, and then I would go spray another side, pressure wash the first side off, and then spray another side, pressure wash off the second side, and just I had to repeat it on the entire boat, probably 5 to 6 times everywhere. Real messy, not fun, but what a difference it made. No more white spots. That's all smooth to the touch. Completely transformed the underside of this boat. And then we got the boat back on the trailer. And I brought it out and cleaned it up just with soap and water for the first time. And as it's wet after I washed it, you can really see its true colors kind of popping out, and it looked really good. Next, I wanted to patch the damage underneath the boat just from running aground a bunch of times, it looks like. So I went and picked up some structural repair putty from Total Boat. This stuff's great. It's really easy. It's a two-part, so you have to mix it with a catalyst. But then it's just really easy to press in there and form how you wanted it. And it's not the prettiest thing, especially on the back here, but it did seal it up, which is really what I wanted. I'm going to end up using this boat for crabbing and just sandbar days and stuff like that, so it doesn't need to be perfect. And then the next step is I wanted to get this paint off of here. So I ended up using citrus strip, which it felt like countless applications, but it did work. And this only worked because the bottom paint that they used was just like a regular black paint that you would just buy, like a flat black paint. It wasn't a true anti-fouling paint. I don't think the citrus strip would have worked on a true anti-fouling paint, but it did work for my application. So I would just paint that on, let it sit for 20 minutes or so, and then just scrub it off and just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And after that, the boat looks completely different already. And then it was time to polish and wax this thing up and really bring out the true olive drab gel coat. So I just picked up this rotary polisher from Harbor Freight, and there's a before and after of one of the sides of it, and it's just this is like really when I started getting excited about how good the boat started to look. It just completely transformed the exterior of this boat. And then here's the entire side finished up. And then a couple other things. Got a cooler mounted with these Arctic cooler mounts that I bought with the cooler for a front seat there. Some new battery boxes because the other ones were just disgusting and falling apart and cracked. Some trailer repairs, these roller rockers. I had to replace a couple of them. New winch strap, new rollers on the front as well. There's a bunch of just little things that I replaced and fixed up on the boat, and it really all came together at the end just in time for summer. The motor, I got that serviced and worked on. It only has 215 hours when I bought it, so barely even broken in. Here it is loaded up, ready to go out to the river on a nice summer day. There it is out at the sandbar. And then just a clip of cruising out on the Susquehanna. I really enjoyed bringing this boat back to life. It's my first boat. I read a lot online about Jones Brothers and how good of a reputation they have. Reached out to Donnie at Jones Brothers multiple times throughout this process, who has always answered me and got back to me right away with questions I had about the boat, which I think speaks volumes about the company. And here's some just pictures at the end quick of some crabbing trips that we went on. And if anyone's out there fixing up a boat or doing any similar process that I worked on, you have questions, leave them in the comments and I can try and answer to the best of my ability. So thanks for watching, guys.